As a PhD student, especially if you're doing your PhD part-time, you probably spent your holidays working or trying to work or not working and feeling bad about it. Now, 2025 is just around the corner, and instead of thinking of some fun, creative goals that you could theoretically throw away in February, you still have this massive monster to tackle. 1 year ago, I could not think of anything worse than carrying on with my PhD. But now, facing a new year, I don't have this PhD anymore. I've finished. And these are the 4 things that I wish I had known 1 year ago that would have made my last year of writing so much less painful and less uncertain. I hope this helps you. The first thing I wish I'd done earlier was throw money at the problems that you're facing. For us, it was particularly difficult to work at home because we have a young family. So the sort of biggest problem that I needed to solve, which I could have easily solved earlier with money, was just renting a shared office space where I could have a dedicated space to work on my thesis. I eventually did this after many months of stress and anxiety and trying to work at home, which did not work. And it was such a relief to finally have somewhere where I could concentrate and work on my thesis without any distractions or stress in the family. This part about this was that because I was still working full-time, I was working in this office space basically after hours and on weekends, which meant that it was practically empty and I had the whole place to myself and no distractions. The second thing that I think is really useful to keep in mind is that you're going to start, restart and start again on working on your thesis. There are always some sort of distractions or some sort of problems that need your attention, especially if you're doing your PhD part-time, whether it's getting sick from your small one's childcare or business trips or other things. There's always going to be times when you're going to have to put the writing on hold, and the key is just to pick it up as soon as possible and keep working on it as you can. So keep starting again. During the 8 years it took me to finish my PhD, there were really 3 sayings or quotes that really kept me motivated on picking up the pieces after having to restart the thesis writing. And these include, how do you eat an elephant? The answer is spoon by spoon. In other words, take it step by step, a little piece in front of you at a time, and just do what you can. Then there's a Chinese proverb that I also found really comforting at times, and it's, be not afraid of going slowly, be afraid of standing still. And that's also true for PhD because it's really going to never end if you stand still. You have to keep going on it. And lastly, and this is probably the strongest one that I've really related to, was people who say that it cannot be done should not interrupt those who are doing it. And I think it's amazing how many people feel entitled to discourage you or to tell you how crazy you are trying to work full-time, have a family and do a PhD, which is 100% correct. It is crazy, but it is also doable. Many people have done this and you're not alone and you will get through it. The third thing that I really wish I had started earlier was optimizing absolutely everything. From where we store what in the apartment to how we do our shopping to how we do the cleaning. If you can optimize absolutely everything, then you will have so much more time and energy to do the dedicated work that you need for a PhD. And I really think that I've started this too late because I was too focused on trying to work instead of working also on the systems and the family unit around me that also then needed time and energy. So if you can optimize your environment, your context, and it can be simple things like where do you store the rubbish bags or where do you store the towels, so that everything is just optimized. And you'd be amazed at how less stress you have and how more efficient you are in doing the day-to-day little things. And this is not so much about a time saving, it's more about reducing your general stress levels and dealing with your anxiety if you have any in a sustainable way. The last thing that I wish I had done, which I probably was not as positive as I should have been, was my mindset about the whole PhD. So many people would be like, oh no, you've got this, there's no way you're going to fail, you're going to do great, etc., etc. And I was like, you guys are just being polite, thank you for nothing, you have no idea what's going on. And in a way this kind of did serve me because I then was basically very defensive in my writing. I tried to make my thesis as bulletproof as possible and did not let any gaps in terms of where the examiners could attack my work, which I think worked out at the end, but I think a little bit more positivity would have probably also served me well. So I think it's really tough facing a new year with a PhD that's been dragging on, whether you're full-time student or part-time. And I think it's really important to look at your mindsets and look at your environment to see how you can optimize it, and really just keep on going, keep on restarting, and you will get there eventually. I hope that you have a fantastic next year and that this is the final year that you get to submit your PhD successfully.